everybody. Welcome to 500 Open Tabs. I'm Hannah Hillam.
I'm Kava Taharian. Welcome back to the show, learning about our GSA friend and warrior, Hannah Hillam. Speaking
warrior
up for
or warrior?
Both.
Both.
Is there a difference? I think if you're a warrior, you tend to maybe transition some of that anxiety into becoming a warrior and advocating and speaking up for people.
Yep. You're right.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome back to the show. We are recording this fake right after Comic-Con. That's when this episode will come out. Oh man, we just flew in from San Diego and bore my arm's tired, etc., so on and so forth.
I am filled with Taco Bell and friendship. A whole weekend of friends.
That's all that mattered. Was we ate it. We were supposed to go exhibit at Comic-Con. We just went and sat at Taco Bell for 4.5 days straight.
4 days from morning till night.
Yeah, it was a really fun time. I feel a lot better about myself.
Me too.
Anyway, thank you. And again, this is weird because we recorded it beforehand, but thanks, assuming you came. And if you didn't come, sorry you missed out on us eating at Taco Bell.
It's like you didn't even care about this podcast
or Taco Bell.
Or Taco Bell.
I've said Taco Bell so many times that they have to legally pay me now.
Yeah. If you say it 3 times in a mirror, the ghost of Taco Bell dumps nacho cheese on you and says you're now our spokesman.
Listen, I'm waiting till the end of the podcast to do that because that sounds like a nice way to relax.
Well, you're going first today, right?
Yes.
There was no transition. I just needed to say it.
Okay. No, that's good. You're becoming a really good host.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
No, honestly, I think I was thinking about, I put this in the show notes. I'm like, we've been talking about San Diego for so long that I'm like, who even are we after this show is over?
I'm at CatCon this weekend.
Oh, are you doing CatCon officially?
I am doing CatCon.
Okay. Which means you're staying at our place this weekend as this comes out. That's fun. That'll be a fun time. So
I'll be doing CatCon. It's in the Pasadena Convention Center. And it's just, I've never been, but I'm assuming it's cats.
That's a safe assumption to make, yeah.
Yeah. What if it wasn't?
Are you like their keynote speaker?
No. I got waitlisted. And I'm like, look, all I do is draw cats. Please
You're like,
let
my
me
book
in.
is literally called Cat People.
Cat People, let me in. Sorry, I didn't mean to scream. But yeah, I'm going to be at CatCon. I don't know my booth number yet, but it's 10 by 10, so I got to fill it with something.
10 by 10? That's massive.
I don't know what to do. I don't have that much stuff. You want to come? You want to come?
Yeah, maybe I'll come for a day and just draw cats to compete with you in your own booth.
Oh, please do.
Maybe I'll bring Zola. She would not like that at all. She'd be really angry.
But you can go meet celebrity internet cats, and Jackson
like
Galaxy, I think, is going to be there. I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is either. But anyway, go check out Hannah at CatCon in Pasadena this weekend. That sounds catarific.
Yep.
Or it could be catastrophic.
It's going to be both.
I'm going to stop myself there. Anyway, yes, as you said, I'm up first this week, unfortunately for our listeners. But thankfully.
Look, they have to suffer everyone has to suffer before the good part comes,
That's true. So my tab, I actually, this one's going to be fun. It's going to be a little bit wacky and nutty.
Better be.
As you've come to expect from me at this point. Let's be real here. It's nothing strange or out of the ordinary. Most of
what you do is just nonsense, and I love it.
It's all nonsense.
Yeah.
My tab begins with the article is simply titled, Why 76 Beavers Were Forced to Skydive into the Idaho Wilderness in 1948.
Okay. Man.
Yep.
Man. Okay. Why? Did they all why did they do it? Tell me.
So...
Are they autonomous creatures?
You're like, what am I doing here? Why? Why is this happening? Why did I do this podcast?
I'm like, because I do this anyway. Wait, hold on. I got to stretch my skin a little bit because I feel like my face is tight. Okay. So first of all, I want to know if beavers have the choice over life and death if they could choose. Are they suicidal or are they just wanting a thrill?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question.
Yeah.
But let's take a step back.
Oh, okay.
Beavers. Am I right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Cool. They're great. They're really helpful, like leading against the fight against climate change. Apparently, that's a whole other thing. They're really good at building stuff. They get angry at water. I too get angry at water sometimes. If it's somewhere where that's close to me. I don't like leaks. I need to stop water from leaking places. I can relate.
I like their teeth. I respect those teeth.
Their teeth are cool. Anyway, no problems with beavers, at least on my end. I think they're pretty cool. Apparently, there used to be a shit ton of them in the United States.
Oh, no.
Some reports say as many as like a few 100 million at one point.
So
again, there's
like,
various
go
reports.
out and see some beavers if you're just like out in the woods.
Yeah,
or whatever.
just if you think about the United States, right? Formerly, before it was America, it's just all streams and rivers and
beavers.
Every one of those has got like a beaver. Just beaver is like on every road or not road, every stream and river, and like anywhere that there's water, there's a beaver chilling doing his thing. And there were basically as many American citizens exist now. There were beavers, just to put it into perspective.
Could have been a different world.
They were the beaver kings and queens of this great nation. It was a beaver boom. But of course, with every beaver boom must come a beaver bust. And no, I'm not talking about beaver titties, unfortunately. Although that's something if you...
Can I tell you something? There's a town in Utah called Beaver, and they have a taco shop called Beavers. So.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
It's just dirt. It's dirty. And every single thing in there is like about... Anyway.
It's not clean. Is that part of...
Vaginas.
Or dirty as in... Oh, okay. I see. You're like inappropriate dirty, not like... uncouth, not like it's uncouth, not like unsanitary.
I don't care anyway what I'm saying. It's just so everyone go to Beaver, Utah, eat some tacos. Go talk.
So anyway, there was the beaver boom, as I said, and then there was a beaver bust. And how do our stories always go?
Colonialism.
Europeans showed up. Yeah.
Racist.
They start building cities and trekking everywhere and looking for gold and shit. And suddenly beavers were like, dude, what the shit? These illegals are coming into our country and taking our jobs and building shitty peanut M&M style dams in Johnstown that kill tens of thousands of people. They're not even certified.
This is giving me energy. Continue.
On top of that, beaver pelts become a whole thing in the 1800s. Remember? So,
dude, what's with white people and skinning stuff? I guess that's everybody.
Yeah, no, that's not specific to white people. That's all of them. And so, meaning all people. So suddenly, beavers are getting slaughtered left and right to be worn as clothes. Probably they're being sent back to Westminster Abbey to become new doors of some sort. And the beaver population continues to dwindle as the human population grows in the States.
Bummer.
And this problem continues into the late 1940s. World War II has finally been fought and won. It's over. Jonathan the Tortoise has killed Hitler. The Michelin Guide is back to printing restaurant reviews. And people in Idaho are looking to expand across the state. Presumably, these are... I guess Napoleon Dynamite's ancestors. Sorry, I don't know anything else to do with Idaho.
I do.
All I know is that and then potatoes. That's literally all I know. I apologize. Yeah.
That's all there is to know.
Actually, okay, for the sake of pop culture references, let's just say it's Samwise Gamgee, a.k.a. Alyssa. Samwise marries Rosie Cotton, and they get restless after a couple years, and they want to expand out of the Shire into Idaho because Sam heard them hills are filled with sweet, sweet taters, precious.
Taters.
And he wants to put that fry sauce on them that he keeps hearing about.
I had fry sauce yesterday, and it gave me a stomachache, and I loved it.
I still don't know what it is, but I saw references to it when I was looking up stuff about Idaho, which is fry sauce is an entire channel on our Discord. Go join the Discord where
if you are
Utah
from
and
the
Idaho
Intermountain
people.
West, come join the Fry Sauce Freaks tab on our Discord.
Just leave your teas at home before you show up to the channel.
Check your teas at the door, and make sure you're modest. Dress modestly, and don't say the F word. None of those shoulders can show in there. Anyway. So my family's from Idaho as well. There's a bunch of them.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's also part of it. Okay.
They were potato farmers.
Just living up to every possible stereotype you can. I love it.
They were like, Utah's way too boring. We're going to get even more boring. And by just going north.
Again, I have no point of, I don't know anything about Idaho beyond what I've read for like a cursory glance, a quick search on the internet.
I'll keep it to myself until later. Continue.
Yeah. I mean, you can say, again, I don't know enough to make fun of Idaho or anything.
Okay.
So anyway, so Sam and Rosie and a bunch of other Idahoans, I guess that's the term, they want to seek out new homes in the town of McCall and around Piatt Lake. Do you know those places?
Is it Southern Idaho? Hang on, I got to find out. My family's from Burley. Burley, Idaho. McCall, Idaho.
Around Piatt Lake. Payette.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hold on. Let me see the map. Sorry, I'm getting into being Idaho.
No, I'm just laughing at you. My family's from Burley, Idaho. I'll be like, oh, yeah, well, my family's from Scrawny, Utah.
I never thought about the word Burley being an actual word until now. It is.
Burley.
No, I am not familiar with this area. We were in southern Idaho, but this seems like it's northwest.
They're all trying to expand, and they're like, okay, well, we want to go into this area and maybe build some houses and expand and whatever. They go in and they're trying to, like, farm whatever, potatoes and various pipe weeds like long bottom leaf, Old Toby, and Southern Star, all the ones that they brought home from the Shire. And I
want those.
There's still a bunch of beavers there. They're just, they're all over the place.
Good for them.
That's what I think too. And they're just, they're beavering it up as usual, stopping water, whatever, like just chopping down trees, having a burly old time.
Luring young British children out of a wardrobe into their house.
Is that a beaver story that I don't remember?
Did you ever read Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe?
Oh, from Lion Witch in the Wardrobe. Is it a beaver? I don't remember the beaver.
No, there's a part of it that's a beaver
fawn,
family. It's a fawn, but then they're like, come, there's these beavers that are like, we'll take care of you. I might be making this up.
I'm like, are they bad beavers or are they like fine. Good beavers? They're
good
fine.
Beavers,
okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I read it in like the 4th grade, and then I think I saw the movie when it came out, and I forgot it. Anyway, so the beavers are there. They're doing their thing, and suddenly they start doing a lot of damage to irrigation systems and like orchards. And everybody that moved over there started complaining to the state, like until finally the Fish and Game Department staff had to figure out a way to transplant them to a more, quote, suitable habitat. Which... Sidebar, I was very offended by that line specifically because you came into their land.
This is their suitable habitat.
It is the most suitable, like the place where they live, that's their suitable habitat.
You can live anywhere.
Yeah, they suck. But for the purposes of this story, we have to move forward with the events that happened rather than getting angry. But I digress.
Okay.
So, and these are super rural areas, right? There's nothing's there. There's like barely any roads. You can't just like drop ship a bunch of beavers using media mail, like stuff. You can't just buy stuff off of stamps.com and send them off. You got to go in with horses and carts and shit.
Like some kind of like pilgrims.
Yeah. And also this is 48. It's not like, or 49, 48, 49. It's not like, there's not like a Jeep Wrangler that you could just be like, we're going to go like over these. There's nothing. I mean, there's cars, but like, they're not that great. And not to mention, beavers are even worse travelers than you and I.
Huh.
They're fussy.
They can't poop either.
They can't shit when they're on the road. They sleep through alarms and always wait to the last minute to buy tickets. And they complain the whole time how expensive it is.
But if they had just bought the tickets months in advance, they wouldn't be complaining.
Exactly. If they and then they hate waiting in lines at the security airport.
They should have just like gotten the badge on the line before the Comic-Con started. Mail it to me. I should have done that instead of waiting in line with a bunch of artists. Doesn't matter.
That was last week when Comic-Con happened. Now you're out of it.
I'm fine.
They hate waiting in lines at the security checkpoint because they know they'll inevitably get randomly screened because of racial profiling, and none of these systems have ever stopped further attacks, and even the Department of Homeland Security has acknowledged all this is pointless, and yet we continue.
And then you just have to spend like 5 extra hours at an airport every time. You gotta put on extra time, dude. That sucks.
It's the worst. Beavers hate that.
Yeah.
And I understand.
Racial
I relate.
profiling.
Yeah.
So do I.
So, a person named Elmo Heater from the...
What?
Elmo Heater. Heter. Header? Is it header or is it heater?
I don't care. To me, it's Heater. His name's Elmo Heater.
Elmo Heater.
My name's Elmo Heater.
This is my best friend, Adolf Saxophone, who I learned was the inventor of the saxophone just before this recording. Adolf Sax, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I found my high school saxophone glamour shot. I was like, anyway, the whole thing.
So Elmo Heater from the Idaho Fish and Game Department described in a 1950 edition of the Journal of Wildlife Management, quote, beavers cannot stand the direct heat of the sun unless they are in water.
Me neither.
Oh, it gets better. During transportation, they must be constantly cooled and watered, and sometimes they refuse to eat.
Me too.
Here's the best part. Older individuals often become dangerously belligerent.
Are we beavers?
Basically.
You know what? I would definitely describe myself yesterday as being dangerously belligerent. I did a piece for a day, and then I was like, oh, I could get in a fight with all my loved ones right now.
Exactly. That's why I was laughing when I was writing this up. Yep.
This is so relatable. I can't handle it. I can't handle this. This is
They're
me.
from Idaho. Yeah.
They're from
dangerously belligerent. Rough trips on pack animals are very hard on them.
Yeah.
Horses and mules become spooky and quarrelsome when loaded with a struggling, odorous pair of live beavers.
I'm a beaver at heart.
You're a beaver. Maybe you should go to BeaverCon instead of CatCon this week.
All right.
There you go, new market. Anyway, these problems involve further handling and too frequently result in a loss of beavers.
Yeah.
So old Elmo is like, it's not going to work. We can't just strap him on the back of it. They'll just die, despite Nikola Jokic's best efforts of, getting the best possible horse and doing this. Still, beavers are not up for that.
No.
So they're like, shit, what do we do? Then they remembered that they had just fought in a world war, and they're like, oh, right. Maybe we have some leftover supplies. So they open the pantry and they see a bunch of extra airplanes and like parachutes crammed in the corner. And they're like,
together, yeah.
Dude. Yeah, right. Rosie is riveting them before she gets her brain taken out.
Before she gets
and they're like, oh shit, we could totally use those. That'd be awesome. And they don't quite know if it's going to work. So first they do a couple tests with like dummy weights or whatever. And those worked okay. It was fine. But they had to actually try it with a real beaver.
Oh, no.
So they get this older beaver whose name is Geronimo.
Yeah, it is.
And they take him and shove him into a box, fly him to an altitude of about 600 feet, and threw him out the side of the airplane.
What happened to Geronimo?
Not just randomly. They didn't just throw a box out with no parachute.
Throwing a box with a beaver in it to his death.
They're like, he didn't pay us his gambling debts, so we just threw him out the airplane.
Exactly. Say goodbye, Geronimo. No, they got to have like action. They want to fight again. They want to see things die again.
Yeah. But thankfully he landed safely and he was able to get out of the box. And so this poor bastard, they did it over and over and over again to just like quadruple, quintuple, whatever, sextuple check. Make sure.
Him, the same beaver.
Over and over again. It was just over and over. Geronimo was just getting thrown out the plane over and over. And every time it worked, in the sense that Geronimo did not die. However, I would like to think for a second about Geronimo, because let's remember that humans, let alone beavers, are not airfaring creatures.
No, we belong on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. We are not. Normally, we're bound by the laws of physics and our anatomy, but like Icarus before us, we harness the power of flight to pursue our narcissistic dreams of grandiosity and have only gone higher and higher in an attempt to outshine the very gods that created us.
Yeah.
But Geronimo is just a beaver.
He just wants to build a dam.
He just wants to stop water.
Yeah. Literally all. Have you seen that Instagram of that person that's like has like a rehabilitation center for beavers?
No, I love to see it though.
I'll send it to you, but there's the one, they always have videos of these beavers just collecting like household objects and making walls with them. Like, it's just what they do. They're like, I gotta put stuff on top of each other.
It.
I know.
It's like, they're not hoarders. They're like functional hoarders. They're like efficient hoarders. Like, I'm hoarding for a reason. They're builders. They're like every day you and I wake up and we do something because we don't know how to sit still.
Not at all.
That's how beavers are.
I pace most of the time.
Yeah, there's always something to create.
Yeah, exactly. Love beaver.
Geronimo, I can only imagine, somehow becomes self-aware in this process of getting thrown out. He's like, what is this flying machine? What is flying? What is memory? What is happening?
I did not evolve to ever encounter this.
But thankfully he makes it and he's okay and he's alive. And that's the only explanation that I can think of for how he was able to deal with it. So he does so well that the test becomes the basis for transporting an additional 75 beavers out of the area.
We're so stupid.
So 2 by 2. Oh, wait, I was going to send you pictures. I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right. So look at this guy on the right with that top hat and the cigarette. He's the most like 1948 looking individual I've ever seen.
Let's see.
There's like 3 dudes holding it up in a box, which looks like it's holes in the beaver box, but they just look like they're bullet sprays from a shotgun.
It looks like they put it out in a field and just loaded it up with bullets.
Yeah. These guys look like they're all doing their best like Lee Harvey Oswald impression. That's what this photo has.
That beaver looks harrowed. He's just like, oh, you're pulling me out. Okay, all right. Like, look how they're like pulling him or pushing him out. He just looks like he's sick of it. I'm projecting.
I don't know if that's
beaver.
Geronimo or not, but that is a beaver.
Look at these guys.
So here's there was like a feature of this in Popular Mechanics at the time. So there's a bunch of, there's like a little blurb about it. It's like moving day for the Parabeavers.
The Parabeavers, like Parrish. Oh, Thomas Stimpson Jr. This beaver's a smart one. I'll tear down part of his dam and put the trap near the break. Wow, what in the world? Here's a distinguished fellow who builds dams and fur coats. Note sorry, hold on. He
doesn't build fur coats.
And fur coats, meaning he has skin?
Yeah.
Okay. Note the hand-like forefeet, the webbed hind feet, and the two long teeth thickened fella tree. Those feet are scary.
Anyway, It does basically start. So then 2 by 2, they start packing them up and throw them out of the plane over the Chamberlain Basin in central Idaho's Sawtooth Mountain Range, which is now called the Frank Church River of No Return Wilderness Area. Are you familiar with that?
Are you kidding? Why is it called that?
I have no idea. I don't know.
That's so scary.
That's what them said. That's what they say. That's what they say. All but one made it safely to the new area. Apparently, one guy had a complication, or like he got out of the box as it was like coming down, and then it was like he jumped or he fell. They don't know. So unfortunately, there was one beaver casualty. Oh,
okay. You know what? In war, there's always got to be sacrifices that are made.
Exactly. You gotta. What is it? If you're gonna make an omelet, you gotta break a couple of eggs.
You gotta flatten a few beavers as they fall to the ground.
Flatten a few pair of beavers, but. Our boy Geronimo, he was given special treatment for his services.
Good.
Elmo, your friend Elmo Heater said, "You may be sure that Geronimo had a priority reservation on the first ship into the hinterland, and that
interesting,
and that 3 young females went with him."
Ooh, Beavertown.
So
I'm sorry.
Even there, he stayed in the box for a long time after his harem was busy inspecting the new surroundings. However, his colony was later reported as very well established. That's the quote.
Dude, that's the life. It's like, here, you went through a lot. Here's some ladies.
Yes.
You can stay in here as long as you need to, but, you know.
Again, although, alternative take, weirdly condescending.
Very.
They're like, here's a bunch of beaver ass, you idiot. Oh, you have PTSD from being thrown out of the plane over and over and over
you can't
again.
Leave the crate anymore. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, you're like a whiner. You have PTSD.
Maybe you should just bust up.
Every time you left the crate, they pulled you up and threw you out again.
So now you know never to leave the crate. Oh.
They're like, what a bitch. That's so cute. Whatever. Here,
really
have sex with these
him.
3 female beavers. Who gives a shit?
Who have no idea what you've been through. He's just going to start drinking after work. He's going to start cheating on them with his secretary. Flashbacks of the war, flashbacks of the ground rushing up at him at an insane speed.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous. But whatever. The following year, the team revisited their transplanted beavers and found that they'd all built dams and houses, bred, and stored food for themselves.
Hey.
It went off relatively without a hitch. It's okay.
Okay. But they weren't, they were just in a new home.
They were just in a new home. Beavers are apparently, like, as long as they didn't get too traumatized in the process, they'll just be like, okay, cool. Like, it's 7 a.m. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to go start grabbing stuff and immediately start building a dam again because that's my hard coding. That's all I know how to do. As long as there's water. And like you said, you don't even have to have trees. Just random shit.
Just stuff.
Just stuff. If there's stuff that they can hoard and pack around, they'll do it. I was tempted to go insane on learning a bunch of stuff about beavers for this tab, which would have been the normal path that I go down. But I took a left turn and wanted to know more about times that animals had been thrown out of planes.
If anything is more you, I don't think it's been discovered. Like, I think that might be the peak Cave right there. It's like, I need to know what else has been thrown out of planes.
Exactly.
And you know what? So do I. I really need you to tell me.
So there's a few.
Okay.
And rather than getting into all of them, I found this story, which I thought was fun. So basically, you're getting a 2-for-1 today. We're getting 2 mini tabs instead of 1 giant tab.
Sorry, I'm yawning, but it's not you.
Listen, I'm going to throw you out of a plane with a parachute in a box.
I would welcome
3
that.
other beaver, part of a beaver harem.
Just put me in a coffin and put holes in it. It doesn't matter. I'll die in
directly
there.
into over a bog. I'll drop it in. It'll be perfect.
Oh, yes.
I learned about...
Sorry, I'm laughing about you saying I'm going to throw you out of a plane. That just like processed
into a bog.
Okay.
So I learned about a scrapped World War II plan that you're probably thinking cats or dogs, but actually it's a lot weirder.
Yeah.
It goes back to our friends on the moon.
No. Bats?
The old bat boys are back in town.
Hey, wait, there's also beaver boys on the moon too, remember? Beaver people?
Oh, that's right. Oh my God, this whole time all I was thinking of was the beaver anal gland that has strawberry flavor from the other one. But I completely forgot about beavers.
I texted my friend, I'm like, by the way, your daughter's listener mail is being read on this episode, and I'm sorry we talk about balls the whole time.
No, it's great.
She just laughed. Anyway, so...
Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot about the beavers on the moon. I accidentally tied this all together completely unintentionally.
Imagine like Geronimo, he retires to the moon. They send him to the moon with his harem.
They would send him they would shoot him like in a spaceship over and over again and then bring him back. And he's like, I'm tired of space travel.
His polygamist beaver settlement on the moon. Taking those Idaho roots right up to the moon.
Yeah, I love it. There was this dude who was named, I believe it's Lytle Adams, Lytle. So Lytle Adams was a dental surgeon from Irwin, Pennsylvania, who I guess sort of knew First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt. And Lytle cut up mouths all day for his job, of course. But as soon as the clock struck 5, he was like, I'm out. It's time to go work on my side hustle.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And you know what a side hustle is? He's like, I got to invent shit that can kill hell of Japanese people because this was right after Pearl Harbor had happened.
Oh, he was fueled by revenge.
He was fueled by revenge and rage.
So many people
And he was just like, got to think of a way to kill people. Got to think of a way. Got to think of a way to kill more people. And he remembered he had recently taken a trip to Carlsbad Caverns National Park in New Mexico. And he said, have you been there?
No, but I've seen pictures. It's gorgeous.
Oh, I didn't know about it. So
it's really
apparently
cool.
There's just a shit ton of bats there.
Tons. They like go in there and study these bats because they have these insane ecosystems in there that just feed off of each other. Anyway.
That's cool. No, I was just, you don't have to say anyway. I was waiting. I thought you had more to say.
Nope.
I didn't know if you had more bat knowledge. I would like to know.
Well, yeah, I do. But like, I watched a bunch of bat documentaries about 2 years ago.
Okay. And, give us the most interesting things that you learned. I want to know.
There's this one. I think it's in Mexico. I want to say Mexico. There's a huge cave system there's these certain, you know what? I'm talking like I know, and I don't remember, but there was like, it was a complete self-sustaining system in that cave. Like those bats did not have to leave. There was certain things that evolved to live in that cave, and they evolved to eat those things. It was crazy. Like it was just self-sustaining. Anyway,
it sounds almost like weird animals that live like at the like fish that are on the super bottom of like the deep ocean, and they're like, we can't leave here ever, so we just all are weird and luminous and the most insane thing you've ever seen.
And I'm fine never seeing what's at the bottom of the ocean.
I will never go to the bottom of the deep ocean. Ever
I'll never
in my
go to
life.
space either.
No thanks. Not interested. At least not the way that it's going now. Maybe in a couple hundred years. But anyway,
I don't want to die in an explosion with a bunch of billionaires.
Absolutely
on the way to Mars.
not. No way.
I want them to die in an explosion. Anyway,
I was going to say that.
I'll watch it.
As long as I'm not on there, it might be okay.
I'd watch the video.
Yeah. Anyway, so he went to the Carlsbad Caverns, like you said.
Yeah.
He remembered. He had gone there like a few months before. And so he's like thinking, he's like, first of all, moon bat people, cool. Also, bats, they like to roost in places at certain hours of the morning. Oh. That's cool. They just party all night and then like they come home drunk and then they find somewhere to pass out and just plant themselves and sleep all day.
Upside down.
Kind of love it. He also knew that there were a lot of buildings in Japan that were, a lot of the buildings in Japan at the time were made of wood.
Oh, yeah.
And so suddenly he's like, boom, idea. And because he's a red-blooded American, he was like, what if we took bats and made them weapons?
Yeah, yeah. If it doesn't kill someone, it's not worth my time.
Exactly. And immediately everyone was like, first of all, you're hired. Second, you should run for Congress.
You had me at bats.
Yeah. You had me at weapons.
You had me at weapons.
And Lytle had thought, quote, couldn't those millions of bats be fitted with incendiary bombs and dropped from planes? What could be more devastating than such a firebomb attack?
Oh, I could think of a couple things that are more devastating, and they came out of planes a little while later, you know?
Yeah, around the same time, funny enough.
Really, yeah. Those bats are like, whoa, what's that thing? We're going home.
Like, oh, shit.
We've been replaced.
Yeah. So in January 1942, he wrote a letter to FDR, because remember, he was a casual acquaintance of Eleanor, so he was able to get a letter to FDR.
Everyone was.
Dear Mr. President, I attach hereto a proposal designed to frighten, demoralize, and excite the prejudices of the people of the Japanese Empire.
Ooh, wow.
That's a direct quote. Outlining what he called a practical, inexpensive, and effective plan.
I don't know how this is going to go any way but bad.
So FDR opens up and reads this letter, and he's just like, dude, bro, straight up, that's the sickest idea I've ever had or I've ever heard.
Eleanor, get in here, read this.
Dude, this is sick. Tell Oppenheimer and his incel brigade to stop working on that nuke and make this shit instead. It's infinitely cooler.
It is incel brigade. That was beautiful.
Thank you. He's like, bro, we got to do this shit. I'm paraphrasing, but in an interagency memorandum, he wrote, quote, "This man is not a nut. It sounds like a perfectly wild idea, but it is worth looking into."
If you have to start an email or a letter saying, okay, I'm not crazy and neither is this guy, but that means it's a bad idea.
So FDR greenlit the idea. And he sends it over to the Army Air Force, and it becomes their responsibility to execute it. As is our favorite in every story, Lytle assembled a ragtag team of weirdos and professionals. This is always our favorite part. First is Dr. Jack von Blocher, a mammologist from the Los Angeles County Museum. Tim Holt, a 24-year-old... Steve Holt! Tim Holt! A 24-year-old lieutenant pilot turned movie actor.
Why is he only 24? That makes me sick.
I don't know. The brothers Bobby and Eddie Harold, an ex-hotel manager and workout king.
Yes.
Ex-gangster Patrizio Patsy Batista, who claimed to have worked for our boy Al Capone. May have been at Grande Cheese Company. We're not sure. And Ray Williams, a lobster fisherman turned Marine.
I love all of this. This needs to be a movie. Oh.
Everything needs to be a movie.
Oh, but this one especially.
Here, I have a picture of them all lined up for like their yearbook photo. Where they're like, we're going to save the world.
Look at them. Oh, look at them. These are a ragtag group.
Very much so.
That guy looks sketch. I love him. Ooh, the Bat Brigade. All right.
So it was codenamed Project X-Ray. And the proposed plan was this. Chemical Warfare Service and National Defense Research Committee developed 2 bombs that would burn 4 to 6 minutes each.
Okay.
Also, I forgot to add this in there, but eventually later, the guy that invented napalm was part of the team. I forget his name, but I did read that.
Mr. Adolf Napalm.
Mr. Adolf Napalm joined the team. So bombs were to be attached to the loose skin on a bat's chest by a surgical clip and string.
They're just putting it in their loose flaps? Hey.
Not eyebrow flaps, not flesh flaps on the eyebrows, but here's a picture of a bat with one of them on there.
Oh, no. That poor thing.
That poor bat.
I'm feeling really bad for the bats right now.
Me too.
Oh.
So they attach this to the bat. Then large containers full of bats will be parachuted out of high-flying bombers. When the containers reached 1,000 feet, the bats would be released. They would fly down and crawl into nooks and crannies of buildings where their incendiary bombs would explode, setting off thousands of fires simultaneously.
Oh, okay. I want these bats to be okay, but I know they're not.
So they go and they get a bunch of bats, as is the case. They got
Let's see.
Here's like the bat house.
Oh, that's a lot of bats. That's so many bats.
It's a lot of bats.
It looks like, if you didn't see the guy standing there, it kind of looks like just a bunch of cockroaches, like on a wall. And
yeah,
when you see there's
it
a
does.
guy standing there, you're like, no, those are giant, and they're not cockroaches, and there's thousands of bats.
Mm-hmm.
So
Ooh,
cool.
Thankfully for the bats, for the most of the bats, not for all of them, they ran into a bunch of problems.
Well, yeah.
first, the bats were Nazi sympathizers, unfortunately, and they didn't really want to fight. They were huge believers in the Third Reich.
They always are. We always have this happen. We always have a hero, and then they turn out to like Hitler.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, it's not Nazism. We're American nationals. It's about pride in our country." Blah blah.
It's not about race. It's about not being around anyone that doesn't look like us.
Yeah, they had tiki torches in their caves. It was unfortunate.
Yeah,
so that was the first big problem. Yeah,
bunch of incel Nazi bats. In that case, I hope they all blow up.
That's true, but. There was that. That was the first problem. They had to try and change the bat ideology and reverse the brainwashing. And to ship bats, they had to be cooled in ice cube trays at 40 degrees to induce hibernation.
So you just tuck them away in ice cube trays?
According to these articles, that's why I was like, I don't know. Is this just like the regular one that you pull out of your freezer and they shove them in there? I don't think that's the case.
It's got to be a bigger one. I
assume so.
This time period was so insane because we still had all these old school ways of thinking with technology that was way newer than we could even understand, and so we're like, yeah, I don't know, animal warfare. Let's shoot these bat bombs at the Japanese, because they bombed our islands, and also hit Eleanor Roosevelt. I don't know, it's just this crazy this guy's speaking some sense.
Yes,
I like the sound of this guy.
Listen, FDR, he was just very yes and. He wasn't like no, he was like yes.
Yes, I will run again for president, and yes, I will do it again and again.
Yes. So he did it, 4 times total, I believe.
4.
Was
he died in office.
The tenure of his thing. But the people liked it. And of course, at that time in the 1940s, they didn't have great air conditioning. Artificial cooling was not a thing. It wasn't a thing that they were particularly good at, and it was too expensive to just go to 7-Eleven and buy, bags of ice over and over again. They're not good at keeping things cool. Additionally, a lot of the bats, when they tried to put them into this hibernation state, like in the ice cubes, they just didn't wake up. So it didn't really work. They weren't good at it.
Captain America, but not fun.
Yeah, or Austin Powers. It doesn't wake up and pee for 10 hours. Why did I say
Captain America and not Austin Powers? Austin Powers
because you're younger than me.
No, I am, but no.
Or you can say Demolition Man. That's another reference, which is what Austin Powers is ripping off in the first place anyway.
Right.
But it goes back over and over and again. That's an old trope. But anyway, a lot of the bats didn't wake up, so it didn't really work. Other problems included having the bats fly off and not descend properly or just fall when they toss them out.
And what if I were a bat, I would be like, where am I? I'm just going to fly around. We're going to be disoriented. I have to carry
where's this new place?
A bomb? Where am I?
Yeah.
I came out of a bigger bat, a big metal bat in the sky.
Right, a gigantic mother bat.
She's abandoning me. Anyway, I'm making this about.
This is my favorite part. During one test run, the bats set fire to a hangar in the staff car of a general who had come to see the show.
Yeah, it did.
And in the final insult, the ultimate problem was that when female bats became pregnant, it didn't work.
Oh.
Because they're like, we're pregnant. So they could only really be effective in terms of being weapons for 5 months out of the year. So it was pregnancy discrimination.
Yeah, absolutely. They lost their jobs because of pregnancy.
And as far as the thing that attacks me, when agitated and put into new situations, much like the Beavers, the males wouldn't properly eat because they had to record a podcast midday and they forgot.
Have you eaten today?
I had some yogurt earlier, but
you're such a
not
bat.
A proper meal. I'm such a bat. I'm a bat
near
the beaver.
Bat.
We belong on the moon.
The two genders, bats and beavers.
Bats and beavers. So shockingly, after all this, Project X-Ray was canceled in 1944, and they did not go forward with it.
Probably for the best, but it would have been fun.
It would have been great. It would have been really fun, not, for all the death of the theoretical Japanese people if they had pulled it off. But I would have thought it would have been really funny if the plane caught fire. Actually, no. You know what? None of this would have been fun.
None of it.
Because you would have resulted in all these bats dying. Yeah. And I'm like, no. Let's scrap all of that.
Yeah.
Yes, it's better off that it didn't happen.
Call Oppenheimer again. Tell him to get his dum-dums together and keep working on the bomb.
Just get the incel crew back together.
Yeah.
Start making that bomb.
Yeah.
This could have been a good movie that Christopher Nolan could have made, but he decided to be, oh, I'm into the theoretical physicist instead. Lame.
Yeah. Hollywood.
Lame. Anyway, there was a bunch more of like animals being flown around and tossed, but in the interest of time, I thought
just quick examples? Like,
by the way, fun examples, mostly in Utah. I just thought that was funny.
I am not. There's a bunch of open space, and it's like it's kind of hot all year round.
I'll leave you. I did have one quick last one that I can throw in there that I was going to put in for you, but I was going to cut it for time. But I'll say, so the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources needs to restock the state's high elevation lakes and streams with tiny trout.
Yeah.
It will often dump them from a low-flying plane into the water. Aerial restocking happens several times a year and has been in practice since the 1950s, according to the division. Pilots can dump up to 35,000 trout into 40 to 60 lakes within a few hours, a process that is speedier and more efficient than pumping fish through a pipe that empties into the lake, the common method for restocking lakes accessible by cars.
I've always wondered, like, there's always like planes up in the mountains, like doing stuff.
They're doing all kinds of stuff. They're flying trout around. They also relocate a lot of mountain goats in Utah.
Oh, okay. I actually knew that.
Yeah.
And in the summertime, people are always going missing in the mountains by my house. So I'd always go out there and they'd be like helicopters. They'd be like, is it a forest fire or some kids missing?
It's not like not kidnappings. These are people who like went out hiking and
went out hiking and
injured.
Fell and.
Sure, right.
I'll tell you a way more personal story that's kind of fun after. But we would be like, oh, there's a helicopter. Oh, that's a bit. Oh, what are they doing? Oh, yeah. And it was always like weird stuff. It's like, why are they taking a plane up there to the lake? Now I know.
Yeah. They're just, and you can see videos of it. They're just throwing a bunch of trout out the back of it. They're just like, it's like this giant bird diarrheaing like trout into a lake.
Oh,
is what it looks like. It's
I'm
amazing.
Proud of my home.
There you go. Yeah, and there's other examples, but those are the most interesting ones. Anyway, there's a lot. There is a lot about animals and parachuting and being in planes and stuff that I could go on forever, but I thought I would just leave you with those two funny stories of the beavers and the bats, which again, wild. I foolishly did not remember the beavers on the moon, and I feel very embarrassed, but
I was halfway through before I remembered.
Okay, good. So it's not just me. Anyway, that's my tab.
Thank you. That was delightful. And I'm really glad that we avoided a lot of death in the end.
Yes. Yeah. And bat death.
Bat death. More importantly, bat death.
If you see your bat friends and your beaver friends and they're somewhere where they shouldn't be, just take pity on them because they're probably frustrated. They haven't eaten. They're angry about having to travel and they're warm and sweaty. Yeah. It's rough.
Yeah, it is. And, don't move them out of their houses. We're in their land.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the suitable place for them to be.
Mm-hmm. And the suitable place for us to be is in the bog.
Correct.
Yeah.
Speaking of being in the bog, what do you got for us?
Oh my gosh. Nothing. I'm just kidding.
Great. Moving on to listener emails.
Yeah. So today I'm going to read one from, today I'm going to tell you the story of the rise and fall of a Hollywood starlet named Cynthia.
Oh, okay.
And how Cynthia changed the fashion industry in some interesting ways. So I'm going to start the story off in 1937. So right around the time they were like, should we throw beavers out of planes?
Yeah, they're starting to think about it.
Should we also throw bats into Japan? Yeah. And we're over in New York City in 1937. And seemingly out of nowhere, this new it girl kind of starts showing up in these socialite circles. And she's this quiet kind of like, I'm going to go into her background later.
Okay. But
she's a quiet kind of like small town girl, beautiful Hollywood golden age style beauty and looks, and the body of a model. You know what I mean? Like those girls who can kind of wear anything and look great.
Yeah. And
so she was like this. She was like turning heads, and she didn't talk much. She was notoriously shy, but she was showing up at these parties, and everyone started to really be like, "Oh, who is this? She can wear these clothes great." And what's going on? And she had this exact look that many actresses at the time were going for. And she was fashionable, aloof, and always could be seen with a cigarette in her hand. So no matter what she did, she was just kind of chilling and with a cigarette in her hand, as is the time. She lived with her mentor, which was this an artist by the name of Lester Gaba. And he was involved with that.
Lester Gaba.
Yeah. And a lot of people were like, what's going on there? But Lester's gay. But he was kind of like her handler almost. Like, I'm going to show you the way. I'm going to introduce you to society in New York. Yeah, no, it gets weird.
Okay.
It's, don't just follow, trust the process.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not rooting for anybody yet. I've learned now from all these different episodes.
I'll tell you right now.
I start being like, oh, this person's cool.
No.
And then
you
it's
can
like,
root for everyone in this story.
Oh, I can. Okay, good.
Yes.
Except for Lester?
No. You can root for Lester.
Okay, I can root for Lester. Okay, I can like everybody.
So Lester is this eccentric artist who is like, I'm going to give you a chance in the big city. You're going to come with me everywhere. You can live with me. It's fine. I'll show you around. You're shy. I can help, be your voice. So he's kind of like her agent. And so through Lester, she was able to start work as a model. And high-end designers were like, who is this? And they started sending her free clothes because she was just the talk of the town and somehow all over the place, but really mysterious. And
she was the influencer of her day.
Yes, she was.
Yeah.
Actually, I was going to bring that up. Kind of famous for being hot. Anyway, she had her own booth at the opera because she was like that popular. She was given a credit card to Saks Fifth Avenue to buy whatever she wanted.
Oh,
she was sent.
Who's bankrolling that?
Saks
Lester?
Fifth Avenue.
Oh, Saks Fifth Avenue was just like whatever you want.
New designers were like, "Here's some more clothes. Put them on. Go hang out. Go to the opera in my new outfit." And she's just up there.
You know what? No, more than being an influencer, I'd say she sounds like more like a muse.
Yes, I'm going to send you a photo of her at the opera. Okay, and yes, she is. Oh, of course I didn't save it. What is wrong with me, dude? So much.
It's that Utah air.
There's none of it.
There's none of the Utah air.
There's trout falling from the sky. I don't even know what to do. Here's the thing. She looks kind of like otherworldly, like Taylor Swift or something. And there she is with her cigarette, smoking at the opera. She has like a weird 1930s Taylor Swift look. So she's very popular. She's got everyone loves her. She gets to these modeling jobs. She gets to be in like radio shows. She gets her own column in the newspaper.
They're like, you're so beautiful, you get to be on the radio.
Yes, and I'll get into. Here's the thing, her background has a lot to do with this, and I'm going to get in there in just a minute. Okay. So she was rubbing elbows with all these artists and upper class people, and she was even invited to the wedding of Edward VIII, King of England. The Nazi one who rode Jonathan as a surfboard.
Jonathan was there? Was he at the wedding?
No. Well, Cynthia declined the offer. She was like, no, I don't want to go to your wedding. Or no, more like Lester was like, she doesn't want to go to your wedding. Because, anyway.
God, I need a Lester. I need somebody who's just like plugging me into everything, taking control so I could just sit in a room and draw pictures all day.
Oh, yeah, right?
That'd be the best.
Anyway, so she was big in New York, and then her national debut came when she was able to get a photo shoot with this famous photographer from Life magazine named Alfred Eisenstadt, and he did this whole shoot following her around town at the opera, like on this like carriage in New York, and like with wearing different things, and it rocketed her to like an internet, like in a national sense, to like who's this it girl, and. Cartier and Tiffany were like, here, jewels, where are jewels? And just, she received massive amounts of fan mail from all over the world. And at one point, she had her own radio show and column in the newspaper. And she also finally made it to Hollywood. And she appeared in a movie called Artists and Models Abroad. That was in 1939. And as you know, what happened in 1939? World War II.
No idea.
There's this place called Japan, and we dropped bats on them. And anyway... So 1939 rolls around, and Lester is still young enough that he is enlisted in the army. So Lester is like, I have to go.
Although he's not even that young. I feel like 50-year-olds were getting enlisted into World War II at that time. It was like old people.
He enlisted himself before he had to get drafted, because then you get a better position.
He was like, okay.
And so he leaves New York, and she's like, he's like, what are we going to do with Cynthia? She needs me. I'm her like buddy. And so he says, Cynthia, look, get out of New York, go live with my mom in Missouri.
Okay.
And so Cynthia goes and like waits out some of the war with his mom in Missouri, Mrs. Gaba. And unfortunately, tragedy would strike.
Oh, no.
When Cynthia and Mrs. Gaba were doing one of their favorite things, which was going to the salon, Cynthia somehow slipped off the chair and landed hard on the ground and shattered into 1,000 pieces.
What?
Cynthia is a mannequin.
You're just Lars and the real girls to me.
This Cynthia was a plaster mannequin that everyone just went along with. So Lester made a mannequin and brought her to society parties, and everyone's like, this is dope.
It's literally Lars and the Real Girl. You've seen this movie, right? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's Lars and the Real Girl, but like a gay fashion designer in New York. And it's like this whole, it was this huge, long-running joke. Newspapers talked about her as if she were real. People talked about her as if they had conversations with her. She hung out with like celebrities at tables. She was in movies. They would like go, people would be like, I'm seeing Cynthia tonight. Like, she was a mannequin. And she crumbled into 1,000 pieces because like she was getting her hair done, because that's what she would do. Because she wanted to, his mom was like, yeah, I'll take her to get her hair done. And so she would go get literally her mannequin hair done. Lester was distraught when she broke into 1,000,000 pieces. And he was like, he had an obituary published because that's how far this went. He was like, rest
Lester,
in peace,
you should have
Cynthia.
bought a love pillow. That's what you need. You need the pillow version of it, not the porcelain one.
His lover was Vincent Minnelli, actually.
Oh, okay. No shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So he
Speaking of Arrested Development.
Yeah, speaking of Arrested Development and mannequins, Cynthia took the world by storm because she simply was a really, really well-made mannequin.
All I picture now is like Liza Minnelli as a young girl, like walking in and seeing her father, like with another man and like a weird mannequin, and they're all like involved in, and you're like, yep, that explains why Liza Minnelli
is the way she is.
Is Liza Minnelli, who I love.
So I'm going to send you this. So the Life magazine photo shoot was hilarious because it started off as like, look at her doing all of her things and look at her with her handler. And then the article ends showing her being taken apart by...
What the shit?
By Lester. And he would take her into put her into pieces and for transport. And this is what he would put her literally in a body bag.
Oh my God. This looks like true crime.
No! So there's her feet, her legs. He made her out of plaster, but he originally got to start making. I know it's really disturbing.
This is really weird.
Really weird. And the article
the trash bag with like the rope around the neck is like, this is very unsettling.
It says Cynthia comes apart at the waist. Her right leg is joined at thigh. Her hands and arms come off. Her right foot is a 7 and her left is a 6.5. A not abnormal human difference. So he made all these little human imperfections because he wanted to make the most realistic woman possible. So
this is like Dennis Rader's favorite magazine of all time.
And the thing that blows my mind the most is that literally everyone was like, yeah, we're buying in. Like famous people. Like people with like, who was it? It was Charles Dana Gibson was like in on it, the illustrator. He was like, yeah, I love Cynthia.
It's like a meme.
This is also a two-parter-ish kind of thing where I'm going to give you a 2-for-1. So after Cynthia died...
not two-parter, 2-for-1. Gotcha. Okay.
After Cynthia
died, shattered into 1,000 pieces.
I had to keep that every quote, everything that was ever written about her, talked about it. It was literally like 1,000 or more pieces. The plaster just shattered on the floor of the beauty salon.
First of all, where did she get her hair done? Right. How far into the hairdo did the hair survive? That's the question.
Oh, yeah. Because here's the thing. After her obituary, he's like, I still have the mold. I'm going to redo her. And he made her again.
Replacing her. That's not cool. That's uncouth.
Well, so I'm going to tell you about Lester Gaba and the brain behind the person who had the longest running inside joke in fashion. And how that ended up changing mannequins and how we display mannequins all over the world. So Lester Gaba was born in Hannibal, Missouri, to parents who owned a local...
Hannibal, Missouri.
Yes, Hannibal, Missouri, the man who takes apart his mannequin. Okay. To parents, like hardworking parents who own a general store. And Lester's like, I don't want to work in the general store. I want to carve things out of soap. And he apparently... there was a competition during the Depression that Procter & Gamble ran. They were like, hey, soap is cheap to make. Everybody make some stuff out of soap and send it in. And he made a little sculpture when he was little and sent it in. Okay. Didn't win, but he you could say he was pretty much addicted to the soap life after that because he only ever, like his hobby was just making sculptures out of soap. And they were super realistic and it was cheap. And soap was really easy to work with. Like you could mold it and it wouldn't melt. And he had a great time doing that. And
nice.
By the time he moved to Chicago to go to art school, he was working as a delivery person and doing soap on the side. And he was noticed, his soap sculptures were noticed by this art director who was like, hey, you got some artistic stuff. Do you want to design some posters for the theater company nearby and also make some soap for kids? So Lester starts a part-time job designing theater play posters and then also making soap sculptures for children. So that's where he is in the 1930s, early 1930s.
Okay.
He didn't want to be in Chicago. He was like, get me out of this small town. I want to go to New York. Because Lester wanted to be in the fashion industry.
I was going to say, he had bigger dreams. He was like, I got to go be on
soap wouldn't do it
Madison
anymore.
Avenue.
Well, so in the early 1930s, he finally makes his way to New York City, and he almost immediately notices the window dressings in all the department stores and how there were these wax mannequins, because he gets there in the summer, and all the wax mannequins have like started melting. And so like their heads are like flopping, and he was like, this won't do. I know something that doesn't melt, and it's soap. And so he starts being like, I'm going to make a better mannequin, and it's not going to melt this summer. And
interesting.
He gets hired, and it's got a nice scent. He gets hired by Saks Fifth Avenue to create new mannequins for them, because he was like, this is not going to happen. They look like just goop in clothes. Like, and like one of them, like, hold on.
Once again, referencing Gwyneth Paltrow's business.
Yep. Gwyneth, I got to send you a picture of the melted mannequins. They're truly upsetting.
Which I feel like today you would pay a premium. You would pay extra for a melted mannequin.
Yeah.
Whoa! Was not expecting that.
No one was. Hold on.
This looks like weird AI.
Yeah, except it's wax. He was disgusted. He was like, this sucks. You're a high-end clothing store. You got to do something better.
He's right.
Yeah, he's right. And so he starts to just make these. He's like, I'm going to make a woman that's so real looking that people are going to want mannequins that look like her all over the place. And so that is how Cynthia was born. So he originally made a 100-pound soap model of Cynthia. And he realized it was extremely heavy to carry around. And so he ended up just casting it in plaster. So she only weighed like 30 pounds after that. Okay. So he hated these boring window designs so much that he didn't stop at mannequins. He was like, we need to actually redo all of this. We're going to make these lifelike scenes where they're wearing these clothes that look like, if someone could see like someone wearing a ski outfit, they'd be like, oh, I'm going to buy that because I do like skiing. Instead of just like, here's some clothes, on these like dead looking mannequins that keep melting in the sun. And so he did this whole like marketing thing where it's like, we're going to make people want to be in those clothes because they look so good and realistic and useful. Yeah. And so Saks Fifth Avenue starts getting these like insane window displays. And all the while he's working on Cynthia because he's kind of creepy.
It's interesting. I'll just interject here real quick. Yeah. Like the whole idea of advertising essentially starts around this time. So it's like effectively like up until not even like 10, 15 years before that, clothes were like, this is functional. Purchase this because it's a function. It was not necessarily aspirational, but like advertising, and then also like PR was the thing that was starting around the same time of like, oh, if you smoke cigarettes, that's like a sign of rebellion because you're cool. Like, so this is also the birth of that. So it's interesting. I had not thought of how window displays, like something that you would pass, because it's kind of like a living billboard, not living obviously, but like it's sort of the same idea where like that's 3D creeping.
Billboard. Yeah, it's like an advertisement.
Right. So it's like all that's seeping into it where it's like, you can't just have this be, look at this jacket on this shitty thing. Like you're trying to project an image of something to get people to buy it. Like
this time everyone was like, I want this beautiful American life. I want to be like these socialites that wear these beautiful things. So underneath all the silly mannequin shenanigans. Oh, Mannequin
Shenanigans. Oh, I love that as an episode title. But...
Me too. Mannequin Shenanigans was this actually like this dude who was at the forefront of fashion and how people related themselves to it and how people consumed fashion. Like, because like the everyday person can't go to a fashion show. It's not for them. But walking down the street, they can. They can see these people who look like them. And they were all white. But, that's how the people who look like them in the street wearing clothes that are like, I could see myself in that. And so he was like, he's kind of genius. He did this thing and he sold it so well by being like, here's Cynthia. She's the new model. Look how awesome she is. She's smoking a cigarette and I take her everywhere with me. And everyone knew him as an eccentric and they just were like, yeah, cool. We love Cynthia.
I wonder, this also feels like somebody that John Waters would have thought was hilarious and loved.
Definitely. This guy is crazy because throughout all this, he's still just like making soap sculptures on the side. Like his beautiful high-rise, gorgeous apartment is filled with homemade soap sculptures, and like he has people over, and he's just like, look at my soap sculptures and like these mannequin legs that I'm going to attach to this torso, and I think he's kind of my hero because like if I met him, he was really charismatic and I mean obviously it's like a big. Yes, and it's just yes anding something until
him and FDR, two peas in a pod. They would have been best friends.
Yes anding things until they shatter on the floor.
Yeah, he's like, "What's that? You want to drop 1,000 soap Cynthias into the Japanese suburbs?
Well, do
Greenlit.
It.
Yeah.
Imagine getting hit on the head with just a torso made of soap.
Not even a torso, like the lower half.
The lower half.
Like the legs that they showed.
Oh, so he didn't just make Cynthia. He was like, I'm going to start making a bunch of, he called them Gaba girls because his name was Lester
Gaba girls.
Gaba girls. And Gaba girls became, every department store was like, yeah, we're going to do this too. And would make like kind of crappy knockoffs or like, yeah, this is the, and you've seen some of those. You see them in like old thrift shops, like some mannequin with like a badly painted face. And it's like, that was because they were trying to imitate. Yeah.
That's my mannequin pose.
That was a good mannequin pose. Are you not real?
I'm not. I'm actually Kim Cattrall from the movie Mannequin.
Oh my gosh. Will you just take that torso off right now?
Yeah, right?
Let me slip into something a little more comfortable. And you
it would be really great to take limbs off.
Half.
I would love that.
Dude, me too. Just like, that would be fun.
It would be great.
I could stretch him. Anyway.
It would make traveling a lot easier. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
I could just be a torso on an airplane. My legs up in just soar the legs and arms up in the overhead.
Yeah. Did you upset yourself with that image?
I did.
So they're making knockoffs at the different stores because they're trying to imitate.
And she was such like this, like almost like if she was around now, she'd be like a social media icon about like, can you heard about this guy who has a fake chick that he just keeps pretending is real and everyone's in on it? And that's what got this.
No, she would have her own she would have her own account that would have 50 times more followers than any person making actual things. Well, it would be like, he would have none. He would have like no followers, but the Cynthia account would have 50 billion.
Like 10 million. But we're seeing
and
that
it would
now.
Get sponsorship. But that's like that girl.
It's what she's
doing. That just went viral. The one who spits on things and then people are like, oh, she just got signed to CAA. Yeah.
She really got signed to...
I think it was CAA or UTA, one of like the big agencies.
Wow.
But that's essentially the same thing. It hasn't really changed. But that's a real person. Also, I don't know anything about that girl, so I shouldn't throw... I don't know what her deal is. I have no idea if she had aspirations for anything else. I just thought I was like, what? Signed to CAA.
I will say, I leaned into a viral video once that I had a video go viral of my cat putting his paw in my baby's hand. Uh-huh. And then my baby closed her hand over the paw, and then my cat Battleship got all cozy, and it was really cute. And some like agency was like, hey, you need to like monetize this. And I was like, all right. Why not? And now my kid has like $300 in like an account from this viral video.
I'd like to think the person that called you up was just like, oh, you have a virus video and I'm Mantis Toboggan.
Dr. Mantis Toboggan, MD. Such a good episode. I love when they whenever they use the videotape, the recorder again. They always there's always like
the same tape that they're taping over.
Where Dee goes into the burning building, or like kitten mittens. Just anyway. So just like AI women now who are kind of becoming these influencers, Cynthia was kind of like a proto AI influencer, where we kind of projected all this stuff onto her and. Everyone was like, we have to get on board. We're going to make all our mannequins look like her. And what's his name? Lester
Lester
was like, I'm going to ride this thing as far as I can.
As he should.
Yeah. He made a ton of Gaba girls, and they've all sadly disappeared. Like, no one really knows where they went.
They're not on eBay or anything?
No. If they are,
somebody used them to clean themselves off.
Oh, yeah. I think if I buy a mannequin, I don't want to resell it somewhere. That's scary. I don't want anyone coming to my house to buy a mannequin. You know what I mean? They're going to make me
that
into a
person's
mannequin.
for sure a serial killer. Yeah, exactly.
They're coming for me. They don't want
if
the mannequin.
If you're buying a mannequin off of eBay or off of Craigslist, absolute murderer. Do
Absolutely.
not.
Don't sell them.
Or furthermore, I was going to say, if someone's selling them, that person's also it's two murderers meeting each other.
Trying to kill and then they see each other's game and they're like, oh. Yeah,
and then they fall in love.
Yeah. They fall in love and they kiss.
And then they murder each other? I don't know where this is going.
Beautiful. Anyway, so around the after the war, the the cutesy little interwar sense of humor, ironic artist sense of humor kind of died down after everybody came back from killing.
Yeah.
And
they came back with PTSD and now they're suddenly the horrors of war.
I looked a man in the face and then shot him. I can't do it. Anyway, everyone gets back and they're like, we're kind of over the whole Cynthia thing. Yeah. And all we want to do now is have a wife that's lobotomized and go work at a factory or whatever.
I mean, it sounds like they were still into the Cynthia thing, but they just wanted her to be not made of soap.
A woman.
One made of flesh, but essentially having all mannequin. The same characteristics.
Yes, and still not talking. Oh, one more thing he said about her whenever he was at parties. He was really funny. He's like, oh, don't mind her. She just had laryngitis again. And always was making up new excuses why she wasn't talking back. Or she's a lady. She's a good listener. What can I say? Just stuff like that where everyone would be like, oh, Lester. Taking photos with a wax mannequin Anyway, so Lester instead is just like, okay, whatever. I'm over the mannequin thing. Now I'm going to become a person who just writes books about soap sculpting. And so he wrote a bunch of books. He also became an artist, and he started implementing all of his art into these window displays. And a lot of it was stuff that Andy Warhol would later go on to be
I was actually thinking something like that. Yeah. I was like, it does sound Warhol-y. It sounds like whoever, like Nico or all these random people that were part of his social circles.
And Roy Lichtenstein. So he was doing those comic-inspired things in window dressings 20 years before anyone else did it. So
they all stole it.
A little. I mean, Andy Warhol, that's the whole thing, you know?
I mean, Warhol's whole thing is stealing, but...
Yeah. But he had this massive and invisible force.
Lester, smart guy.
Dude, yeah. Lester. And here's the thing about Lester is that he almost wasn't doing it on purpose. He just couldn't stop. Right. As you understand.
Like a beaver would.
Like a beaver. Lester's the beaver of the art world. And just like the beaver, he did fall out of an airplane.
Oh, no.
He didn't. He's fine. He died old. So good. Lester had this crazy, unbelievable effect on modern art, on fashion.
Really cool.
He invented the modern
advertising,
viral marketing.
Yeah.
Which could easily be described as viral marketing. As well as he was the father of the modern window dressing. So even today you can walk around and be like, that's a bunch of weird stuff in that window. And thanks to Lester, we have that, I guess.
Sarah loves that shit. Sarah's all about really elaborate window dressing. She's obsessed with it.
Because then it's also a form of entertainment. People would go window shopping.
The seasonal ones get really crazy too. Yeah. All the Christmas ones get really elaborate.
Yeah.
It's like Disneyland every time. It's it's gotten so over the top. It's gotten insane.
Well, Lester would love that. If he could see it now, he'd be like, this is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah. Yes, this was my plan all along.
He was over the top. There was one he helped do where they actually made a real ski slope inside of the window. And people could go practice. Anyway, and so he was a multimedia artist who was just kind of couldn't stop creating. And so they called him the Andy Warhol of the 40s, which I think that Andy Warhol is the Lester Gaba of the 60s.
Lester Gaba, exactly. Yeah. Yep.
And he was a lifelong bachelor, which meant, he was gay. And he was he was rumored to have a relationship with Minnelli, Vincent Minnelli, but was unconfirmed. But after Vincent left New York, Gaba holed himself up and cut himself off for a little while because he was heartbroken.
Devastated.
And he was active in art and fashion for the rest of his life. He died in 1987 at the age of 80. And at the time of his death, he was actively writing very specific articles about window dressing reviews. So
he was into window dressing criticism even at that point.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
He became a window dress critic.
He's in it. It's not just it's he's helping actually form how you think about it. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And he genuinely felt so strongly about how ugly windows looked that he was like, I have to change all of this.
I'm curious to read some of these reviews and the criticism of it. I had never even thought about it.
He was funny too. He was a very funny, clever, kind of force of creative energy. But yeah, I ended up reading about Cynthia and then being like, who's Lester? Why don't we talk about Lester? He's awesome. So that's my tab.
That's awesome. I like this guy, Lester Gaba.
Yeah, we'll put some pictures up, right?
Yeah.
Gaba girls. Yeah, I'm gonna put pictures up of all the life photo shoot because Lester's in it. He's like sitting next to her at the opera and like escorting her down the street. And there's one of him holding her, just her torso and her head, and carrying her out a door. I'll just say anyway. It's so surreal, and Lester is so funny, and the fact that his mom went along with it, and everyone was like, "This chick's real."
Can you imagine being like, "Hey, mom, can you take her to the salon?" My mom would be like, "I'm not taking this shit to the salon." She's like, "What are you talking about? No."
I think his mom was like, "Whatever makes you happy, dude."
Sure. Are you paying for my house in Missouri? I guess. I don't really have a choice.
You're my son, and I want you to work at the shop, but instead you're making fake women.
Although honestly though, if she's getting featured in Life magazine and stuff, it is probably cool for her to like go to the hairdresser and just be like, "Oh, check it out. This is the thing that my son made that's real famous. Now it's a way to show off and sort of like stick it to people who doubted her son." So maybe that's the angle. There's different ways to think about it.
I think that she was supportive because she didn't complain. She was like, "Yeah, I'll take her on. I'll take her." I'm
not paying for it, but
I'd like to think that she had the same sense of humor as him.
Yeah, probably.
That's awesome. That's Lester Gaba. Go look up all of his crazy stuff.
Love it.
And
thank you for sharing that.
I kind of want to sculpt some soap.
I think you should. Maybe while we do our next tab, like next episode, like that one time where we sculpted the taco.
That I took a bite out of? Yeah. Yeah,
you can carve out a nice soap thing, something or other.
A soap beaver.
Soap beaver.
Okay, so that's the end of that.
Wonderful. Let us get to the point where we're going to close our tabs. Okay. What do we do?
Oh.
A bomb, probably. A beaver bomb. I'm sorry, a bat bomb that's catching fire.
Yeah, or like...
Or no, shattering. No. We should do Cynthia shattering falling over and shattering.
So like plaster shattering on a tile floor.
Yeah, into 1,000 pieces.
It has to be 1,000.
Yeah.
It's poetic.
You want to go ahead and count us down?
Yeah. Okay. 3. Okay. I'm going to push Cynthia off this chair. 3, 2, 1. Death to Cynthia. Aw. Sad.
Oh no, my hair is ruined.
My wig fell off my crumbled up face.
All right. Anyway, moving on to listener emails. Email number 1 is Christina from Platteville, Wisconsin.
Oh, cool.
Heyo. My assistant Heidi and I work in collections at the Mining and Rollo Jamison Museums, and we love listening to your podcast while working. At first, I was worried about what Heidi would think of this pod, since my mother hates how much Kava swore in the musical splaining podcast.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Apologies to your mother, Christina. It was the only way I could get through talking about musicals. Notice how I don't swear on this podcast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I took your lead because you didn't really want to swear, and I was like, well, I'm not going to swear a bunch of you're not going to swear.
I'm fine with swearing. I just was like, I'm probably not.
Yeah. No. I thought it would be weird and incongruent if I was swearing all the time and you were. I just was like, well, it's probably better for the show anyway. But no, I literally, if I didn't, swore
through all of
I just swore through the entire 4 years of that show.
I mean, yeah, you had to watch some stuff you didn't totally want to watch.
That was the only way I could cope. But yes, I have multitudes. I have many sides. I have a non-swearing side of this podcast. So look at that.
This is the time I'm non-swearing. It's on this podcast. So
that's true. But Heidi and I are huge fans. Thank you.
Hi, Heidi.
At our museum, you'll like this. We take guests 50 feet underground and give them tours of our 1845 lead mine.
I love that. I want to go there. Have you ever been down a mine shaft?
I have been to caves and I get panic attacks because I get claustrophobic. I cannot do that stuff.
Makes
Absolutely
sense.
Not. Yeah.
I love going in there.
You have fun. I will be on the surface, not being under the ground.
In Wales, it was dope.
Good for you. Good for her. Anyway, in addition to talking about the history of mining in the area, we talk about the Tommyknockers, which were part of Cornish mythology.
Everything about this is my whole deal. Okay.
Yep, that's why I chose it. These little dwarven creatures would play tricks on miners, didn't like whistling, and if you gave them the crust of your pasty, they would lead you to a rich pasty.
Yeah.
What is I assume pasty would be a pastry, but not, what is a pasty?
It's a Cornish miner's lunch where it's kind of like an empanada, but like savory and like full of like potatoes and vegetables and meat. And they like pasties are so good. You could just like, it's like a little taco.
Sounds like an empanada. Yeah, sounds like just like an empanada.
But it's like filled with like delicious. Anyway, I went to a Mexican place in York, and they described empanadas as pasties. So, spicy pasties.
That's definitely a classification of food that exists across every culture in the world.
A little pocket full of meat, yeah.
Yeah, pocket full of meat. But if you gave them the crust of your pasty, they would lead you to a rich vein.
Oh.
After giving a tour, a guest told me South America also has Tommyknocker creatures called Mookie.
Oh.
So, of course, I had to open a tab for them. They can either be mischievous or helpful to the miners, and apparently they would also kidnap children.
Great.
Unlike the knockers, the Mookie enjoy whistling, and they wear ponchos while holding gas lanterns. Here are the links for both. If you are ever in Platteville, we'd love to give you all a tour. Thanks for the laughs, and keep it Josie. Best, Christina. So there you go. You can go into the mines. The mines of Voria.
The mines of Platteville.
The mines of Platteville. They will give you such a feast in your honor.
Whoa, that was good.
Thank you.
That's a good one. You get a good accent. You gotta do good. What is it called? Impressions.
Impressions.
Yeah. If we were there and it was for the podcast, would you do it?
I would be above ground while you did it. It would be great. I don't think I would.
Not even
how. What are we talking here? I'm like getting into like a little shaft
elevator.
And going down an elevator, and then I'm underground.
You go down.
It's tight underground, or it's like open.
Depends. The main shafts are large, but then the little like.
How far down are we going?
Depends on the mine. The one I went was like deep.
And I'm like, this is like the deep ocean.
The miners
were
just like
for this.
We got on the elevator to go down, and everyone, all the miners that worked there, we were just bashing on Margaret Thatcher the entire way down.
That's cool.
They were just like, she should be down here. We should just throw her down here. We're like, oh,
yeah,
I love you guys.
I don't know. It's my combined claustrophobia and also being from California, where I'm like, I'm going to die in an earthquake down here and be trapped forever.
For sure.
I just can't. I don't know if I can do it, but we'll see. Well, maybe we'll do a show there one day. Whenever we get big enough to do live shows, we'll go out.
Mediocre podcaster dies in mine collapse in Platteville.
Relieves world of his presence. Thank you, Christina.
I'm just talking about myself. Because you're not going to go down there. I'm dying in there.
That's true. I'm not.
Okay.
But the one time I do. Okay. Anyway, moving
on. Email
number two.
This comes from Chris, and Chris does not say where they're from. And Chris says, hello, love the podcast. It is a highlight of my week when a new episode is posted. Thanks, Chris. The tabs I wanted to share are about Kavanaugh Altar Breads, the Rhode Island company that has a near monopoly on communion wafers. Oh. You know, those little, like, things they say are Jesus' body.
Yeah, the little waffly things, yeah.
You put them in your mouth or whatever. Selling, I don't know.
Is there another? I was like, what, you put them in your butt? What are you supposed to do?
You didn't know Catholics did that?
I don't know much about what Catholics do.
I don't either.
Waffle time.
I know they eat, like, crackers and think it's flesh. Anyway.
Wafers.
You're right. Selling about 80% of the wafers used by churches in the U.S. It all started in 1943 when inventor John Kavanaugh Sr. created a modified waffle iron to mass-produce the wafers after the local nuns were having trouble keeping up with demand. Wow, the nuns
poor
were
nuns.
Since the 1940s, Kavanaugh Altar Breads has expanded their product line to include things such as whole wheat and gluten-free communion wafers. Anyway, keep up the good work. I look forward to seeing the future with this great podcast. And there's a whole Vice article about the cutthroat business of communion crackers.
All I can see now in my mind is people going to church, and then when they get up to take their communion, just being like, is this waffle gluten-free?
Is this body of Christ gluten-free?
Gluten-free, yeah. Body of Christ does not have, no, flesh doesn't have gluten. That's not how it works. Also, I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn here. But do you even develop gluten when you're making these little waffles? There's no time for it. Gluten has to be like gluten gets developed and pushed. Like it needs time. I don't think you get gluten right away. Also, these things are mostly just like crackery and like
I think they're just
air. It's like flour and water.
I've never had one, but
you've never had a communion wafer. You've never even come across it.
I've seen them. Yeah.
They taste more like plastic. Although I guess I don't know what it would have been. It tastes just like Cynthia's body. It's made of soap.
That's what happened to her.
Zing, put it all in together.
Nice.
Anyway, I'm just rambling now about gluten.
That's fine. Look, we need extra crap for the Patreon for every episode. All right?
That's true. Anyway, thank you guys. If you have a tab that you would like to submit for the show, please go ahead and do so by emailing 500opentabs@gmail.com. That's 500 the number. Let us know what you learned. Just write a little brief paragraph about it. Send us the article, of course, and let us know where you're from, because we love to know. Additionally, as we had with, I think it was maybe last week's episode, we also do voice memos. So if you want to write it out and speak it as well, keep it to under a minute. We love to hear your voices too. So that's also an option.
And if you want to follow us, it's 500 Open Tabs on Instagram and whatever's left of Twitter. And YouTube. YouTube is fun because you get to see actually like pictures that we include. Like you get to see pictures of Cynthia and her arms being taken off, stuff like that.
Yeah, and bats with bombs attached to them.
Yeah.
Additionally, we have a Patreon that you can donate to. Please help us. We're putting more stuff on there. Yeah. Hannah's putting a lot of stuff on there. I should say, give credit where credit's due.
Posting some like compilations of like, things we cut out of the episodes and stuff like that.
Fun stuff. We're getting there. Of course, there's the Discord, which continues to grow every day. It's a great place to come chat about there's so many channels. I go in there and I'm like, what the hell is this shit? I don't even know what it is. There's some new channel and there's like 50 people talking in there. And I'm like, I don't even understand what this is. It's like crafting just showed up the other day. And I was like, what is this?
Is this your first Discord you've ever been on?
Yeah, I've never been as a part of a Discord.
This is nothing.
Before. Are there supposed to be like 10,000 channels?
Some Discords are so bloated you wouldn't even believe. Like
I don't understand.
There's a way to keep it, like once we get more and more, there's a way to actually organize it so you don't feel insane when you look at it. So
I feel insane always, even before I open Discord. I just feel like I'm like, oh, is this bad? Or there are too many channels? But I guess that's what people want.
People want it.
Clearly, the people running this Discord, you and I, are very good at Discords. Anyway, we have one. It's great. Yeah. It's a fun place to share stuff and learn about fry sauce and linguistics and memes and an insane amount of discussion about Taco Bell.
More than anything else, we talk about Taco Bell. Every
day people are like, I went and had Taco Bell, and then they post pictures of their Taco Bell. It's strange. I love it.
You posted, you're like, I'm on a road trip. I got Taco Bell. And like 5 of us ended up getting Taco Bell the same day and posting it. And then like someone's like, I guess I better go do it too. And next thing we know, there's like more people being like, I gave in, I getting Taco Bell. And then there's like people who aren't from the U.S. being like, what is wrong with you guys?
Yeah. We opened the episode with Taco Bell and we're going to end it. If somebody listening knows somebody at Taco Bell, we're already doing this. You might as well. We can be like Cynthia. You can give us a card that allows us to just get free Taco Bell, or give us sponsorship money, which would be even better. Yeah. But if you can't, at least maybe Taco Bell can contribute to the Patreon. I'll die in
your store.
Perfect. You can shatter into 1,000 pieces.
But seriously, Taco Bell. I will do whatever you want.
I will not do whatever you want, but within reason.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the Discord. Sign up for that. Also, we have 500 Open Roads, which is the map. We need to update that. We do need to update that. It's been a couple of weeks, but it's fun. Yeah. Of course, we'd like to thank Alyssa for all of her hard work for putting this together. We'd like to thank our patrons, and we'd like to Patreonins.
We're going to do patrons.
Our patrons, and of course all the listeners, and everybody who contributes to the Discord, and everybody who subscribes on YouTube, and everybody who tells their friends about the podcast, because we keep getting emails being like, my friend told me about the podcast, or somebody's in the Discord being like, my friend told me about it. So please, it's working. Keep doing it.
It is.
We love you guys. Please keep spreading the word. It's really helping us out. Please subscribe and rate and follow the sponsor links. Hannah has a book.
Oh, I have it right here. I get to actually show
got the proof.
Camera. Oh, no, this isn't even the proof. This is the final book.
Oh, it's the final book. All right. Well,
so I got a book. You can now see it if you're on the
YouTube.
It's called Cat People, and it comes out October 8th, and it's right now you can do pre-order. And I think there soon is going to be a pre-order thing where you get like a free tote bag or something. I should read the whole email instead of just jumping to conclusions. But, anyway, Cat People.
There's a book. Cat People.
It's real.
Check it out. It exists. She did the work. I know, because I got a lot of texts about it. A lot of talking off of a ledge, but I'm proud of you. It's really hard to finish a book. People don't realize.
Can't wait till you read the acknowledgement.
Oh, really? Oh, no, I'm excited.
I may have said that exact same thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Anyway, you did talk me down a lot. Yeah.
It's tough. I don't think people realize how hard it is to finish a book, especially one that's
a comic book, because people read them so quickly. But this took me, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours.
Yeah. It's fun. Honestly, I think we talked about this at some point where we would maybe do a discussion about doing book stuff, like how you finish a book.
Oh, yeah.
And if that's something you guys might be interested in, let us know.
Because we come from two separate areas of it. Like, you self-publish and somehow are able to make yourself publish a book, which makes no sense to me. If I don't have someone threatening me with a contract, I won't finish. Yeah,
no, I threaten myself every day. That's what I get up every morning. And I'm like, if you don't do this, you are going to shatter into 1,000 pieces. Yes, there's different ways, but a lot of the processes are essentially the same. It's just a matter of like outside accountability versus internal accountability. But the actual process of making the book is a specific one for artists that's very different from how you would write a book.
Yes. And people, like, my editor was like, you're the first artist I've had to, I usually the editor for writers. And so I'm learning too. Yeah, what this is all about. And it's way different. It's way different.
It's very different. Yeah. It's not as simple as just dropping a bunch of JPEGs into a PDF and then hitting print.
It's me calling, when I call you like late at night once, I'm like, I can CMYK. I need help with CMYK. Oh no, it was.
I was going to tell you this. I'll end with this story. We're supposed to wrap like 5 hours ago.
I don't care.
I went to the Maurice Sendak exhibit that's at the Skirball Center in Los Angeles. It's incredible. You get to see all of the old original pieces that he's done. A lot of the original Where the Wild Things Are pieces.
Wasn't there Windsor McKay?
And then he owned a Windsor McKay, and you can see his stuff. But
I almost died when I saw that picture.
At multiple points in the exhibit, there's there's the little blurbs that are written under the images. It's basically like, now I just think Windsor McKay, not Windsor McKay, Maurice Sendak. Multiple parts in the exhibit. It's like Maurice Sendak was upset with how the colors were printed of his books, and he went back and had to do this other process so that the colors could be more accurate. So I was like, I looked at Sarah and I'm like, see, it's not just it's a whole thing. It's been happening for years.
Forever.
Yes.
I don't think I've been as close to like a full-blown meltdown and panic attack than I was when I looked at the proofs and the colors weren't right. I almost
you texted me and I was like, you have every right to be angry. I'm like, we have spent so many hours. You were correct.
Like, detailed little things like, look at this, what's this? And you were like, hey, here's what I'm going to tell you. Do this, and it worked.
I knew a little bit. I've been through this process a few times. I understand, but yes, colors. That's oh my god. It's not just as simple as having typeface. It's like you spend so much time getting colors correct,
and then they're not correct.
Yeah, and they're slightly off, but like that slight offness drives me insane.
I can't look at it. If it's like that's not even. How did I spend this many hours on it to have it look?
Yeah. Anyway. So if you're listening to this and you print stuff and you want to bang your head against the wall, that's normal. Unfortunately, it's just a process you have to learn. But anyway, congratulations again on getting your book. Congratulations on having a release date, and
thank you.
I look forward to reading it finally one day whenever someone gives me a copy of it.
I can send you a copy.
Send me that copy. I don't want you to have that one.
Sorry, guys. I sent it to my friend. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, guys. And of course, as always, keep it Josie, and we will see you next week.
Okay.
Keep it. What did I say? Keep it Josie. Keeping it Josie. It sounded like you were saying, like you were correcting me, like I said it incorrectly.
Oh no, I was just saying something and it didn't sound right.
Listen, I'm sorry.
And you know what? You should be. I'm so mad at you.
Keep it Josie with a Z, not C.
No. Keep it Josie.
That's not what you think. Anyway, thanks for listening. See you next week, everybody. Bye.
Bye.